it's interesting, I think, to talk about the Republican strategy at the moment. And then maybe I don't mean the Republicans as a political ideology, because that's mostly dead, but more as the Republicans as an identifier of a large group of corporate and banking and insurance company interests, pharmaceutical company interests that are channeled, that have hijacked government basically and made the US a fascist state. They are now fighting Obama with some healthcare reforms quite vehemently, and there's a good reason for that. Because I believe that their basic strategy is to create chaos. The more chaos, the better. And why is that a good strategy? Well, of course it's a risky strategy, but it's useful to them, because after all, if US dives into a big mess of all kinds of fighting, then the ones that will end up on top are the people with the most money, the rich, the people with the houses that can afford the weapons, that can afford the protection, and etc. and etc. That's already the case, of course, if you look at court cases and legal proceedings. They already have a big advantage in any legal proceedings, either because they can afford their lawyers, so they can harass people by starting court cases because they're rich, or because they can win, because they have the good lawyers, and the expensive ones. But so chaos is really a very, let's say, the ultimate strategy that they're using right now. The more chaos, the better, and that's why you hear Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and Fox News really stirring it up. But it's a very dangerous strategy, because as they increase the chaos, for instance by the violent healthcare reform protests, which are paid for. So some of these protesters are simply paid employers of employees of some Washington company, and the other people there are just brainwashed by Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh and have been lied to. Of course, if somebody tells you that your country is going to be a communist state and you can only wear brown shirts and stuff like that, then you might get angry, but of course that's not the truth. That's not really true. There's nobody that says that. The only people that say that Obama thinks, that's the only side that is really placating the other side with names like Nazi and fascist and Hitler are the Republicans themselves. So it's not an example of projection. It's an example of trying to confuse people. But in that mess you'll have criminal elements that are also in society, because after all US has a huge distribution network for its drugs, for the crack and the cocaine and everything that's being sold. Even if you believe that the government's involved in that process too, it's still a huge operation, and if they can make more money, then they will try to do that. And if they see chaos, then they will exploit it. So once you're, let's say, it's like an animal, once you start bleeding, a lot of other animals are going to start to pay attention, because there's a meal walking around, and it's the US. And the Republicans are the worst thing that could happen to the US right now, because they're actually trying to destroy it.